You want me to pick 5. Just 5, the greatest I ever saw. I mean, honestly, that's kind of a ridiculous question, you know? I used to chase that word greatest, like it actually meant something. But the closer you get to it, the more you realize it's baloney, really. But okay, after everything I've been through, you know, the last few years, I don't really hold back anymore, so let's do this. Okay, so first name, Billie Jean King. And people always expect me to start with a rival, right? Someone I battled on the other side of the net for years. But no, I want to start with a person who actually rebuilt me late in my career, you know, when everybody thought I was basically done. I mean, my footwork was old school. Cross step, always cross step. That's how I learned to move as a kid behind the Iron Curtain, and it worked for a long, long time. But the game was changing. Everything was becoming open stance, faster, quicker reactions. And Billie Jean just looked at me one day and said, essentially, that's not going to work anymore. So we re-engineered it, just completely rebuilt the way I moved on a tennis court. And honestly, I was not young at that point. You know, relearning footwork at that stage of a career it's humbling, it's uncomfortable. But she didn't care about my ego. She just cared about whether it worked. And it did. I mean, that adjustment is a big part of why I was still winning majors well into my 30s, still lifting trophies at Wimbledon when people had already written the ending of my story. But, and this is the part people forget, Billie Jean wasn't just fixing my footwork. She built the entire stage I was standing on. Before her, women's tennis was, I mean, it barely existed as a real respected tour. She's the one who fought for that, who put us on the map, who made sure there was actually a place for someone like me to walk into. And look, I say all that with total respect, total gratitude, honestly. But I'm not going to pretend I didn't also compete against her. We played each other plenty of times when I was young, still finding my game, and she beat me more than once. I remember standing across the net thinking, okay, this is what it actually takes to be number 1. Then, you know, time passed. I got stronger, I got sharper, and eventually the results between us flipped. By the end, the overall record leaned my way. I say that not to boast. I mean, it's the truth. And she'd tell you the same thing herself. She's never been someone who needed to be flattered. That's kind of who she is, actually. Direct. No patience for nonsense. She'll show up, rearrange your whole game in one sentence, and walk away like it was nothing. So yeah, Billie Jean King. Not just someone I admired from a distance. Someone who literally reshaped how I moved, how I thought, how I competed. You don't forget a person like that. Next one is, well, it has to be Chris Evert. I mean, there's no version of this list without her. People call it a rivalry, and yeah, sure, it was that, but it was also just the longest relationship of my adult life, honestly. We were on opposite sides of the net for what felt like forever, you know? Completely different players, completely different personalities. She'd sit back at the baseline, just patient, precise, waiting for you to make the mistake. And I was already moving forward, trying to end the point before she could even settle into a rhythm. 2 totally different philosophies of tennis just constantly colliding. And the finals, so many finals, especially at Wimbledon, they'd go the distance every time. Full effort, both of us just emptying the tank. But here's the moment I actually think about more than any scoreline. My very first Wimbledon title. I was young, I was terrified, and Chris had just lost to me in the final. And instead of, I don't know, walking off cold or forcing a smile, she was just genuinely happy for me. Overwhelmed, almost. You could see it wasn't performative at all. That's when I understood something, you know. you can want to destroy someone on a tennis court, absolutely, with everything you have, and still love them the second the match is over. I don't think people outside of sport really get that. I mean, how do you explain it? You know, we spent years trying to break each other, and somehow it built one of the deepest friendships I've ever had. And I mean, life eventually humbles you in ways tennis never could. A few years back, we ended up fighting cancer at the exact same time, which is, I mean, what are the odds, honestly? Two people who spent their whole youth trying to beat each other, suddenly needing each other more than anyone else could understand. These days, it's nothing dramatic. You know, we just text, recommending shows to watch, that kind of thing, which sounds so ordinary, but after everything we went through together, ordinary is kind of beautiful. I've known her longer than almost anyone else in my life outside of family. And when I think about who shaped me, not just as a player, but as a person, she's right there at the center of it. Not because she was easy to play, but because she never once let me forget what real respect looks like. Now, Steffi Graf, she's a different kind of challenge entirely. I mean, Chris and I, we were opposites, but Steffi was just complete. Every surface, every shot, there was no obvious weakness to attack, you know? That's rare. That's genuinely rare. There's one match I still think about more than any other between us, a semifinal late in both our careers at the US Open. I was not supposed to win that one, honestly. I mean, everyone had already written the story in their heads, but something just clicked that day. Every ball I hit had a purpose. Every point felt like it mattered more than the last one. And when it was over, I remember just standing there thinking, okay, I still have this in me. That match, to this day, people call it one of the greatest ever played on that court. And I believe them. Steffi's been generous about me publicly, actually. Really generous. She's said some very kind things over the years, called me the greatest, basically, without hesitation. And look, that means something coming from her. But I've never fully accepted that label, you know, not for her, not for myself, not for anyone, because the moment you get close enough to touch it, I mean, it just kind of falls apart in your hands. It stops meaning anything. But, and I'll say this honestly because I don't really hold things back anymore, there's a part of that era that still bothers me. When Monica got hurt, badly hurt, I always felt Steffi could have done more, reached out more, stayed closer to her through it. I'm not saying she didn't care. I think if it had truly shaken her the way it should have, there would have been more of a bond built afterward, not less distance. That's not a criticism I make lightly, especially about someone I respect on the court as much as her, but it's honest. And honesty is kind of the whole point of doing this, right? Still, as a competitor, as someone who could beat you in absolutely any way the match demanded, Steffi Graf belongs right here, no question. She pushed me in ways almost nobody else could. And that semifinal, that one afternoon, I'll carry that with me for the rest of my life. This next one is, honestly, it's the hardest one for me to talk about. Monica Seles, because when people ask me about her, they always want to talk about the tragedy first. And I get it, I do. But before any of that, you have to understand what she actually was on a tennis court. I mean, mentally, she was untouchable, truly. You could not read her at all. Up big, down big, didn't matter. Her face never changed. Her rhythm never broke. I used to stand across the net thinking there's just nothing here to work with. No crack, no opening. She was right there with Chris in terms of that kind of toughness. Maybe even beyond it. And then, well, you know the story. She was attacked on court during a match, stabbed in the back by someone who was obsessed with beating her through violence instead of accepting he couldn't beat her any other way. I still don't fully have words for that. A tennis court is supposed to be the one place where you're safe, where the only thing that can hurt you is the score. And that was taken from her completely in front of everyone. What people don't talk about enough is what happened after. She came back, eventually she did come back, but something had shifted, not her talent, not really. It was that edge, that supreme confidence I just described. It was dulled, just slightly. And slightly is all it takes at that level, honestly. I've said this before and I'll say it again because I believe it completely. If that never happens to her, we are not debating who has the most major titles in history. It's her name at the top ahead of everybody, ahead of all of it. That's how good she was before that day. And I'll be honest about something else too. The punishment for what happened to her was frankly a joke, barely any consequence at all. That still makes me angry, if I'm being truthful. A young woman's entire career, her whole trajectory, just altered forever. And almost nothing happened to the person responsible. So when I think about greatness, I don't just think about trophies. I think about what Monica Seles was in those brief years before it happened and what got stolen from her and from all of us, honestly, because we never got to see how far she actually could have gone. That's why she's here. Not despite the tragedy, but because even with it, what she showed us was still enough to prove exactly how great she was. Now, this last name is a little different because, I never actually played her, not once, not even in an exhibition. She belongs to a completely different generation than mine, and yet somehow she still belongs on this list. What amazes me most about Serena, honestly, is the longevity. Staying at the top for that long, winning majors deep into her 30s, that's not something that gets easier with age. It's something that gets brutally harder. The body starts arguing with you, the recovery takes longer, and she just kept pushing through all of it year after year when everyone assumed the window had already closed. I remember this was a long time ago now when she was still just emerging, still finding her footing, and someone asked me what I thought of her. And I said, basically, if this young woman ever reaches her actual potential, she is going to rewrite the record books completely. I wasn't trying to be dramatic, I could see it even then. The athleticism was different, the power was different. It was obvious, honestly, watching her practice. People love asking me the inevitable question too, could I have beaten her in my prime in hers? And I always give the same answer because it's the only honest one. It's impossible to say. The equipment is different, the training is different, the whole sport has evolved in ways that make direct comparison almost meaningless. We're not even playing the same game, not really, not technically. Rackets alone change everything. So I don't rank across generations. I never have, and I'm not gonna start now, even under pressure, to just pick someone. What I will say is this: what impresses me most isn't the trophy count, it's the mentality. Winning big matches after 30, when your body is quietly betraying you and everyone's whispering that you're finished, that takes something most players simply don't have. And look, I never got to stand across the net from her, never got that direct measure of her that I had with the others on this list. But greatness doesn't always require that, Sometimes you just watch from a distance and you know exactly what you're looking at. That's Serena for me. Not a rival, a reminder of how far this sport has traveled since I first picked up a racket. So, 5 names: Billie Jean, Chris, Steffi, Monica, Serena. And I know people want it ranked 1 through 5, like it's some kind of countdown, but that's not really what this is, honestly. Each one of them gave me something completely different. Billie Jean rebuilt me. Chris taught me what real respect looks like, even after years of trying to tear each other apart. Steffi showed me there was still another level, even when I thought I'd already found it. Monica. Monica reminded me how fragile all of this actually is, how quickly it can be taken away. And Serena, well, she's the proof of how far the whole sport eventually traveled beyond me. So when people ask who's the greatest, the actual greatest, full stop, I still don't have a clean answer for that. I don't think I ever will, honestly. The closer you get to that word, the less it actually means. I said that at the start, and I still believe it now, maybe even more than before. I mean, after everything I've gone through the last few years, the health stuff, all of it, you start measuring things differently. It's not about who won more, who's got the bigger number next to their name. It's about who was actually there. Who pushed you, who forgave you, who you still think about decades later without even trying to. And honestly, that's what these 5 people gave me. Not just matches, not just memories of trophies, but presence, I guess. People who shaped who I became on the court and off it. So no, I'm not gonna hand you a tidy little ranking today. I don't think greatness works that way, not really. But I will tell you this, I'm still watching, still paying attention to every new player who walks out onto that court, wondering if they've got whatever it is that made those 5 so unforgettable. Because this game, I mean, it's still not done with me, and honestly, I'm not done with it either.